This is the Metro Log kit. Kind of analog, but modern. I love, where is it? Anyway, hello, my name is John Skippy Limcool. Welcome to the SuperMacho Drumz walkthrough videos. There's going to be 3 of these. This one is on installation. The second one will be on the interface for both this spiffy, fastest drum editor interface I know of on the planet, and the Groove Player, which is awesomely cool and fun and powerful in ways you have no idea until you see it in action. Seriously, it's really, really amazing. Okay, and the third video will be on playing through each of the kits, so you can hear all of these wonderful sounds and how insane it is that there are 64 kits. Each kit has 61 samples across the keyboard. Thousands, over 3,500 samples, I believe. This is my opus. My opus. At least for 2016. Who knows what's coming next. But this is, I'm terribly, terribly proud of this and really happy with this updated version. So the first thing we should do is we should cover what's the difference. Why is there this new version compared to this? Here's MIDI Drumz. Hello. Hello. Looks a little bit drier, not quite as cool in the depth department. I had Matt Chowski, my graphic artist guy that's done the artwork for the different libraries for the last year, do an update to the interface, and it's a little bit more depth to it. I like it. So the main differences between these two are this. MIDI Drumz. I kept getting the name confused with the Mega Magic libraries that I released for Omnisphere, for Contact, for all that stuff with the reverb and the samples. So I wanted to rename this to split it so I don't have these two libraries, concepts, parts of my website where I have these things. So SuperMacho Drumz is a totally different name, nowhere close to Mega Magic. So I don't say Mega Magic and Mega Macho when I say, you know, that type of thing. So that's the shallow part of it. Okay. Also, because this shows up in the Libraries tab, it means a couple things. I paid Native Instruments for a long serial number for every library sold. And many times I had technical difficulties with that serial number. I'm not great with I don't have a big website, I guess, with the numbering system to keep it all organized. There's a lot of technical problems, a lot of time spent with customers that had serial numbers that didn't work, all sorts of stuff like that. I don't want to do this. So I am doing this as a serial number free library. That means you could easily torrent this, I guess, maybe compared to having it over here in the Libraries tab. I don't know. I sincerely hope nobody out there is, I know you are, but please don't torrent these libraries. This is my livelihood, and I sell these at a very affordable cost. There's 64 kits and over 3,500 samples in this for under $100. So save your money, be legit, you'll feel better, and I will appreciate it if I see and meet you in person someday. The other thing is that I also wanted to make this, well, here's it. So it now shows up as a library under the Files tab, where you would go to your hard drive, to users, to shared. This is where it is for me. You can put this anywhere, and we're going to talk about this in a minute. But because there's this system called QuickLoad, where you can just right click and it calls up this really cool interface, this makes it so much faster than navigating through Native Instruments now comes with so many libraries here that this has lost its ease of use. I don't know if you're trying to find a drum kit library that you got, and it's one you use all the time, but it's down here hidden in this stuff. It's just, it gets really difficult. You can navigate to the libraries this way, but what's really cool is that if you double click this, and let's see if we go up one, so we see the SuperMacho Drumz folder above. In other words, if I double click this, I get the 2 folders, right? I want to go up one. I can take this library and I can click and I can drag to right here and let go. And I have it named with a space at the beginning of the name on purpose, so that once it's done converting, it will show up at the top of the list at the very beginning. And now you just have to go like this to load a kit. Go like that, and and now you have all these amazing drum kits that are just a control click away from showing up. If I go, no, I want to play with Mega Magic Dreams and I wanted to play with this, I can just click and it's like, no, I want a pad sound. It's right here. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to go navigating. It's all right here. So QuickLoad is much faster by far than trying to navigate to those 3 libraries if they existed here and do the same thing. It would be a lot harder to use. So QuickLoad made it like I don't need to have a serial number and pay that money to have this serial number that causes all these problems for me. So I'm going to make it a standalone library, and my customers will all buy this and not steal it from me. So I'm making it easier for you guys. So there you go. So let's talk about installation real quick. If you put this, you can put libraries anywhere. A couple things you have to do. If you have a specific hard drive location that you put sample libraries into, make sure you hit this little settings button right here. Go to the database and hit add. Navigate to whatever that location is. I have on my sample tank, I have a sample libraries folder. Select that and hit open. So it just registers that in this running list of databases, so it knows to look there. That will help alleviate some of the errors you might be having. So that's number 1. Close. Number 2, if you put this somewhere else besides that shared folder, when I come over here and I try to load a kit, a lot of you end up getting an error message like, you know, you're over here, you have the library open, you click and drag, and you go like this, and it pops up an error message. It's missing samples. And you hit search, and maybe it finds it, but it now has graphics that are all sideways and really weird because it didn't find. There's a couple things that make this library unique. Well, this is the case with every contact library that has an interface. There's a resources file which has right here the NKR. And the NKR is what my scripting guru guy, Aaron Frensley, created, that has all these custom knobs and sliders and all that stuff in it. And if you search and it can't find it, then it's going to load just generic knobs and sliders and look horrible. So when you load, if you get an error message, you can hit navigate and have it navigate and go find that folder for the NKR. And the samples are right here in these 2 folders. There's 28 kits in samples 2, which is the SuperMacho kits. Part 1 is the Mega Macho kits that are included. Okay, there's 38 here. Okay, so the important thing, if you're having error messages each time you load one of these drum kit files, the issue is this. This is looking to samples that are at a different place on your computer than they are on my computer. So Contact made a very cool automatic 1-button almost process under the little file here, the little floppy disk. Click here, you say battery save, say yeah, I know this is an important step. You navigate to wherever this is. So for me it's under the shared SuperMacho Drumz. Open up this folder, the SuperMacho Drumz folder, and there's 2 folders of kits, and say open. It will look, it will say, oh, I found all these kits. And it'll pop up the error message. And you only have to say to 1, and then it will go through this process and do this saving that it's doing right now. What it just did is it went through and it saved all 64 kits, pointing to the samples in the correct locations. So I won't have any more error messages. And now when I quick load and go over here to SuperMacho Drumz and I say I want to have, say, let's say Hyper Liquid, and just click and drag and no error message. And off we go. Okay? So that's the installation of the kits. Part 2. When it was on the Libraries tab, it had a MIDI file component to the, let's right click. The Groove Player has these MIDI files that are really, really cool. All sorts of different styles. So you could say hip hop, and you could say mix and hit play. Right? You can do such cool things with this. You can click and drag right here to drag it to your MIDI file, to make it into your arrange page. If I had Logic over here, let's have it just sit like this, right? So, oh, it's gonna, of course, take over. So if I take and click and drag right here, and let's see, if I go over here and click and drag and let go and say no, boom. There it is as a MIDI file. And these are not little one measure MIDI files. They're with fills, personality. It's a thought out, mostly 8 measure groove for most of these, okay? So these MIDI files are really cool. And you can make your own and save them and do all sorts of cool stuff that will show up here under the user's grooves if you want. But this does not automatically show up inside of SuperMacho Drumz. You have to physically place it. So let me show you where that is. In your Documents folder on your computer, or I think User C, User Files, or something like that on a PC, you find your Native Instruments folder. It's the folder where it defaults to saving all the settings for all of its plugins. Here it is. So if you go to your Contact 5 folder inside of your Native Instruments folder, there's supposed to be a folder called MIDI Files. And if there's not, make a folder and name it MIDI Files. And then you take from the shared folder, from the SuperMacho Drumz folder, there is the SuperMacho MIDI Files. And you go to MIDI Files, open that, and click and drag to put this in there. And now you have MIDI, single, and user grooves. If you have any MIDI files, you can put them into the user grooves folder. And that way, when you go back to the interface for, let's get this back up so we can see it. SuperMacho Drumz, when you go to the user folder, they'll show up over here for you to access and use. So you can make your own basic kits, groove kits, all that kind of stuff. And in the second and the third video, I'll show you more about the cool features of how this works. It's really cool what you can do with these. So some of these, as you'll see, will say like Beast for EDM. Even if you selected the it still plays. It sounds a little weird. We'll talk, you've got these key scaling to limit the range so you can limit the range just to the kick drum. If you want, you can have it just play a little small range of the MIDI file. And this is where, now turn on auto. Auto means it will follow, so you start, stop. And in the second video, we're going to look at this, but just real quickly, this is being used for that snare drum. It's driving me crazy. Okay. You have play and stop buttons up here. Select this, go to okay. And we could even lock this, so. There's all sorts of ways to modify. Anyway, we will get more into all of this stuff and how to use this. I just want to show you how to get the MIDI files to show up. So they go into the Documents, Native Instruments, Contact 5, and then MIDI Files folder, and then they will show up for you to load and play with, okay? And we will show how to use those in the next video. And is there anything else I want to cover right now in this first video? I think that's everything. Just make sure you use the battery save and your database has been updated to look to the right location on your hard drive where you've got this library and other libraries stored, and you should be in good shape. So this is where you would get to the battery save option right here. You can't be on this condensed window or it doesn't show up. It has to be on this full window and then clicking here and you'll see battery save. And that's how you resave the files so that it points the samples to the drum kit instrument files and you're in good shape. So we covered QuickLoad, we covered MIDI files, we covered batch resave. Those are the three big things on the installation I want to make sure you guys are clear on. The last thing, make sure you have the full version of Contact 5.6.1 or later. And you're good to go. All right, so next video, we're going to look at the interface and the Groove Player. Okay, so see you in a minute. Bye.